Hello everyone, this is Dracoan here, and we are going to do another NFL video, because this is what this channel has become now. Actually, you know what? I'll do this for an NFL and NASCAR video. So let's start off with the NASCAR stuff first. I know I made a video about this last week, but now it is officially confirmed that Kyle Busch will be moving to the RCR number 8 next year. Tyler Reddick is still going to be at RCR, though. He is going to be in an unchartered car now, though. Or in a third car now, though. They're going to try to get the charter from someone. I don't know if they'll get it, but yeah, they're going to try to get the charter from somebody at RCR before they move someone else up, whether it be Creed or Austin Hill in 2024. And also, Kyle Busch Motorsports is changing to Chevy like I thought they were going to, meaning ThorSport is now the only Toyota development team in the Truck Series, besides Stuart Friesen's team, but that doesn't really count. And now on to the NFL part of the video, where we will do the Week 2 predictions, as well as sort of review what happened to each team in Week 1. So anyway, our first game of Week 2, we have the Chargers taking on the Chiefs. Both these teams are 1-0 to start off the year, and they are playing in the first ever Thursday night football game on Amazon. So, I believe the winner of this game will be the Kansas City Chiefs. I think that they start out the season 2-0, even though it's going to be a really close game, I feel like. Next up, we have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers taking on the New Orleans Saints. Both these teams also won last week. However, the one to go 2-0 this week will be the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at home, or not at home, on the road against the Saints. I was thinking about the Chiefs when I said at home. Next up, it's a game that I will actually be in person at. The Carolina Panthers taking on the New York Giants. I'm going to go for New York here. I think that New York starts the season off 2-0. It's just that Saquon was, he went off last week. And if he does that now, especially if he's at home, he's going to be unstoppable. I'm sorry, Carolina. Next up, we have the Colts taking on the Jaguars. We have an upset alert. The Jaguars win and beat the Colts at home, because the Jaguars always seem to beat the Colts at home, as they've done the past 2 years. So yeah, I think that the Colts start out 0-1-1, and the Jaguars start out 1-1. So next up, we have the New England Patriots taking on the Pittsburgh Steelers. Patriots lost, Steelers won, but I think this week the Patriots are going to win. I think the Patriots get the win over the Steelers. Honestly, the Steelers are not as feared of a team as the Dolphins are, so yeah. New England gets win number 1 on the season. Both teams are 1-1. Next up, we have the Washington Commanders taking on the Detroit Lions. Washington won, Detroit lost, but I think that Detroit wins this week. Detroit did really well against the Eagles, and that's saying something. So I think that since they're going to be at home again, they're playing against a much worse team than the Eagles. I think that it's definitely possible that the Detroit Lions will win in Week 2 against the Commanders, and in this prediction, I believe they do. So next up, we have the Jets versus the Browns. The Jets lost and the Browns won last week. I don't even think this is going to be close. Cleveland wins it by a ton. They're playing at home, and they're playing probably the worst team in the league right now. So, yeah. Next up, we have 2 more teams that won in Week 1. The Dolphins and the Ravens. Which team do I think is going to start off the year undefeated? I have that being the Baltimore Ravens, joining the Browns, undefeated in their division. However, I do think it's going to be a close game because the Dolphins have an elite offense and the Ravens have an elite defense. It just cancels out. Next up, we have the Falcons taking on the Rams. This one's not even close. Both teams lost, but I think that the Rams get their first win of the season this week. Atlanta starts out 0-2. The Rams start out 1-1. Next up, we have the Texans taking on the Broncos. The Texans tied and the Broncos lost, but I believe the Broncos are going to win this week. So yeah, Denver gets their first win of the season. It's at home against the Texans, so it shouldn't be that hard. Next up, we have the Bengals taking on the Cowboys. This one's Cincy. I know both of these teams lost, but Cincy's definitely going to win this game. I don't see how it's not. I mean, Dallas has to rely on Cooper Rush until November or whenever the hell that Dak's coming back. It's just... Yeah, I mean, I know they're going to be at home, but I just don't... I don't see it. I don't see them... They probably won't win any of those games with Cooper Rush because it's not like they have any receivers besides CeeDee Lamb. Next up, we have the Seahawks taking on the 49ers. I believe this one will be a close game, but I'm going to have to go with San Francisco here. I know, not a popular opinion now that Geno's probably everyone's favorite player in the league, including mine. But it's just San Francisco has Deebo Samuel, and the Seahawks have not Deebo Samuel. They have DK Metcalf, but still. Next up, we have the Cardinals taking on the Raiders. Both these teams lost, but I believe the Raiders get the win this week. So yeah, Vegas wins this week. Arizona starts out 0-2 to start the year, so that is not good for Arizona, as they're the only winless team in their division now, with everyone else in the division now being 1-1. Next up, we have Sunday Night Football, probably the dumbest Sunday Night Football of all time, but it's going to be the Bears and the Packers. The Bears won and the Packers lost, but that's because the Packers were playing the Vikings and the Bears were playing in the Atlantic Ocean. So, yeah, I don't think the Bears beat the Packers, especially since it's in Lambeau. Next up, we have a Monday night doubleheader. The first one being the Titans taking on the Bills. I have to go with Buffalo here. Buffalo starts out the season 2-0. Tennessee starts out the season not 2-0, 0-2. And look at this. Jacksonville is going to be the only team. Jacksonville is still going to be the only team in the division to have a win through the first 2 weeks. That's saying something. And finally, the last game of week 2, we have the Vikings taking on the Eagles. This one was probably the hardest one to predict out of them, but I think I'm going to go with Minnesota here. I know they're on the road against a team with a really good defense, but it's just that Justin Jefferson was probably the best player of the week last week. And also they have Zadarius Smith and Dalvin Cook and Adam Thielen. It's just like, yeah, Philly has some receivers too, like A.J. Brown. But I think it's just going to be too close of a game, and Minnesota's going to pull out on top. That's my prediction. So yeah, those are my predictions for week 2 of the NFL season in 2022 / a NASCAR update. So yeah, I will see you all in the next one.